Hypnosomnia. I've practiced that word because it's really hard to pronounce. It's the latest full length of, or actually the first full length and also the latest of Black Rabbit. Black Rabbit is a death slash thrash metal band from Apeldoorn, and they've been around for a while. This album has been 9 years in the making because they started out in 2014. And a few lineup changes later, we have this conceptual DIY work of art. Of course, they already released an EP in 2020, but this is their full length, so let's go with that. The band originally started out as a groove, death, and thrash metal band, influenced by Megadeth, Obituary, Pestilence, but their current musical style is a bit more modern. And it's actually more thrash metal than anything else, but layered with like death metal vocals to make it more interesting. And not the whole album is gonna be trashy, but there's enough variety in songs to keep you wanting for more. Another thing that makes this album really interesting is the use of orchestra and synth lines, and that just adds another layer of darkness, really. The opening track, Hypnosomnia, is a really good example of that. It feels like a movie score for like a dark fantasy movie or something, and it seamlessly evolves into the first real track of the album, Neverending. That's, of course, a death metal song, as it's supposed to be fast and heavy, guttural vocals, necessary guitar solos, and there's uh, great heavy riffs and pounding drums in it as well. The Culmination of Hate follows kind of on the same path, maybe a shade heavier, maybe with like aggression in the guitars, and the staccato vocals really add to that aggression. False Awakening, the next track, it's a lot slower than the previous songs. Also really interesting because of like weird rhythms and weird riffs, and it kind of reminded me of Death in a way, except for the more modern chorus. And there's an inevitable mosh pit in the middle of that song, and that's sure it's gonna be fun when played live. Too bad I missed them at their album release show. Going on with Hollow Eyes, it's a more mid-tempo track. The grooviness is really strong with this, and the vocals sound even heavier on this track, but that might also be because they're layered with multiple vocal layers, probably by the rest of the band. I wouldn't really have mind if this track went on for another 5 more minutes, because it might be my favorite of the album. That's mainly due to the heavy chorus riff, and it's not just heavy, but it's also really melodic, and I really kind of like that. Speaking of variety, after Hollow Eyes, we go back to the trashy riffs with Fake Blood, and then after we go with Delta Waves more of into a ballad direction. Not really though, but it starts with some orchestration, and it's really reminded me of Requiem for a Dream. Really, I'm not sure if you guys know it, but like an old school movie, and actually Requiem for a Dream is it kind of fits with the theme of the album, because it's all about things that happen in your brain when you're asleep, sort of. It's not really a concept album, but it's kind of based on that concept though, so that kind of fits. um, Paradoxical Sleep might be the heaviest song on the album. It's just a massive pounding wall sound coming at you, and the synth lines in the chorus really add to that as well. And luckily for us, there's a little breathing room in the middle of the track, but then it goes back into like an insanely fast guitar solo, so that the guitarist can show off, which is necessary, I think. And then Judgement Day, it's back to the old school sounds with like squeals on the guitar and just nice stuff like that. 2 more tracks. Descending, more of a melodic song than the rest of the release. It might also be the most emotional song, which fit the lyrics because it's about depression. There's still enough energy and shredding on this track. It just stands out a bit more than the rest, I think, because of the chord progressions and such. And the final track, Hellfire, is just a nice summary of everything we've heard before. Trashy riffs, heavy, modern, groovy riffs, trashy mosh pit riffs, fucked up, fast drums, synth lines, and all in all, just goodness. Um, Overall, this album is really well produced. It has a level of professionalism to it that you'd expect by a band signed by one of the major labels. And not only the musical part is done to perfection, but the artwork, and I've said it before, has an amazing quality as well. Well done, Robert Todorico. Black Rabbit is just really a complete package. And I'd say one of our shining pearls in the Dutch metal community. Why pay €70 to go see whatever, like Megadeth, or I don't know, just one of the random old guys, when you can pay like 10 and see this great band on stage, or for free maybe, because a lot of bands don't get paid in the Netherlands. That's just the scene. Anyway, my favorite tracks on this album are probably Hollow Eyes and Descending, both really different tracks, but a nice summary of the broad spectrum that's Black Rabbit, I guess. And I can't wait to see these guys live.